Okay, what I would like to do now is share with you some of the cloud-based visualization and analysis tools we've added in this version of SA. So in order to do that, what I'm going to do is just import a scan of a car door, and I can do that by just dragging and dropping an RSC file in, and I can import it directly to a particular instrument and then play it back as if I'm live measuring. And as you can see, we now have the color intensity display, which kind of improves the graphical rendering of the cloud data. And it looks almost like a mesh, and it shows the reflections from the metal. What's kind of fun about it is that it's such a big step above what we had. And just as a reference point, what I can do is save it as a scan stripe cloud, which was our prior format. And you see it immediately looks kind of thinned out. It's a little harder to see. And the other thing you can do is turn off the intensity data, and suddenly you'll see the way that we were displaying cloud data before RG Cloud or enhanced clouds, and how much of an advantage it is to turn that off and see cloud data displayed like this, which is just a lot of fun. The other thing that we've got, let me hide that CAD model for a second, is if you zoom in and you look at the cloud data, you have the ability to actually zoom in and segment just the part that you're interested in. So I can right click and split the cloud by selecting a zone, and I'll just do that. And then in this zone, there are features that have some curvature to them. And if you want to look at the curvature, what we have, and the reason that our lighting has improved so much, is we now have the option to show the point normals. And this option allows you to look at the individual probing directions or surface normals saved with every point. That's a significant advantage to being able to do feature extraction and surface analysis, is having a local normal per point, which is something that we were not able to compute before. But now it's just naturally part of the cloud data. And again, you can just simply right click and unsplit the cloud to see the big picture. And you can see the normals are available for the entire cloud. Again, you can zoom in on a particular zone to get at the detail per point, but it's just kind of a nice feature for the whole cloud analysis process, and you can turn it on and off in the properties. So that's the first thing for cloud display. The other thing we've been trying to work on is take this cloud, and rather than just directly comparing it to a CAD model, actually allow us to work with a mesh. So under the clouds and surfaces, there's now an option to build a mesh from CAD. This is a great option so that if you forget to build a mesh from the imported CAD, you can directly build it from an existing CAD model. And we've refined it so that you can build a much more refined, more precise mesh. If you turn that on, you'll see it doesn't even look like it's any different. But if you go to wireframe, you'll see that this is a mesh, and it's got very fine detail. And the detail is based upon the density of the feature. So we're keeping very high detail, and we have specifications for the detail of the mesh that we build from a CAD model. So those are the things that we've done to just simply be able to improve cloud display. And if you do align, you can then do extraction relative to this mesh. So I'm just going to right click and say align to mesh, and select the mesh for alignment and compute the alignment. Okay, now that we're aligned, what we can do is use that mesh for colorization. So one of the really cool things we can do is go under the reporting tab, and we have additional options under this query cloud to objects. We can do direct cloud to cloud comparisons now, which wasn't available for a little while. We have the ability to now build a colorized mesh as well, and a colorized cloud, which I'll show you in a second. But let's do this first one, build a mesh as a colorized map of the cloud to the mesh. So I can select the point cloud and select the mesh. And then if I hide the original and the cloud, which has intensity, you can see we have a colorized mesh. And if you want to, you can add callouts. So we have callouts for a mesh as well. So I can select that zone and add a callout. I can add another one over here just as a reference. And let's do, say, one over here just for fun. So these callouts are now linked to the mesh, and you can do a full rendered visualization, which looks even better. And then you can also just right click on the mesh and access the colorization settings. So if the settings aren't quite right, if you don't like this, you can switch the mode, say go, no go as an example, or you could even do something sort of intermediate, which is like tolerance continuous, which is kind of a nice display. So this display then is immediately available for laying out your callouts and adding it directly to a report. What I'm going to do now, though, is hide this mesh and go ahead and use the cloud. So we have another option here, which is to build a colorized cloud. So I can select the point cloud and the mesh and do a colorized analysis. And what we have now, and this is actually kind of neat, is the cloud data itself. And I'll hide that call out. So we can look at this cloud itself and see that there was a piece of the mesh that was actually missing. And so we actually don't have any data here along this edge. And you can see the same colorization and the same lighting for the cloud. So in many ways, this is a really accurate and effective way to look at the colorized data using the cloud itself. And again, if you want to add color callouts, you can just simply right-click and select a zone and add a callout to that zone. So I have a callout here. And if you want to adjust the colorization, again, it's simply right-click, access the colorization, and adjust the colors to whatever color display fits your needs. So we have all of the same options for basic colorized cloud, which is colorizing measure data, or a real true color mesh, which might be better for a report. Okay, so the next step would just simply be to open a report. And if you have a report, you can just view that report. Now, if you notice that the callout is actually updated already in the report. So if I wanted to adjust it, you can double click on the report, access that callout as a little alternative view, adjust it however you want. You can move it around, set it just as you need for your reporting purposes, close it, and it will update so that you have exactly what you want in your report. I kind of messed that up. We can move the callouts around as well, which I forgot to do. And close it again. So it makes it really easy to access this. And I realize I have not extracted my features yet. So to extract the features, all you need to do is right-click and say Refresh Filter Cloud. Now, the other thing that we did in this version was under Features, there's an option to just use the generic filter button. And this will allow you to, again, select any or all of the features and use the saved settings from those individual features. So you're not overriding them, you're just simply using those features and trying to select the data, and it'll go through the list, run through the list one at a time and evaluate each one. And as soon as the list is complete, you can again reopen your report and you'll see that your callout is there and all of your information is already filled out. So this really makes it very easy to do just about any kind of analysis you want with a template using cloud data.